Hello and welcome. My name is Errity Green and this is Wise Woman Television, and today I am bringing you a pick a card reading on messages from your higher self. So I will get started with that in just a moment. I want to let you know that if you do like and enjoy this reading, I ask that you like and subscribe to support this channel as I support you. And I want to let you know I offer both personal readings as well as coaching programs to support you in your life, in your work, and on your spiritual path. Right now, I have an extraordinary program that is enrolling. It's called Spirit Woman, and it is a year-long coaching community to nurture your true nature and highest potential. So I do encourage you to check that out. I will post the details below. And we will get started. I will begin by placing a picture of your 3 card piles up now. All right, so let's go ahead and get started for card pile 1. We are asking, what are the messages from your higher self? What would they like to share with you right now? Okay, so there's an opportunity here so you might be going through a dilemma, a challenge, a situation, a hardship, some kind of struggle or difficulty that is sitting with you, or that you're navigating or moving through. And the advice or the guidance, the wisdom here is to allow yourself to feel it and be vulnerable with it. So get in the feels with it, surrender to it. There's just something here about allowing yourself to feel it, allowing yourself to be there, allowing yourself to, get in the thick of it and see what's there for you. Now, of course, we haven't moved through the rest of the reading, so I don't know what else is relevant, and it's not saying anything about the situation itself. But the message here, I'll even read it for you. Strength and vulnerability. The power lies at the root of a perceived weakness. So there might be an opportunity for shadow work here as well, allowing yourself to be in it and just see things clearly too. Instead of seeing, oftentimes we can get into our defense mechanism, right? And so it's saying, oh, this isn't actually about me, and it's about them, and I'm going to put up my armor, and I'm going to deny that, there's anything for me to learn or whatever. We have all these defense mechanisms that are essentially preventing us from experiencing pain, okay? They're protecting us, they're safeguarding us from pain. And so it's saying, instead of putting all of your walls up and refusing yourself to feel, there might be an opportunity to let those walls down so that you can feel it and also see clearly. Because after we've kind of gone through the feels of things, we're able to sort of, with a level head, see things for what they are. We might notice that something's a projection. Maybe the other person is projecting something on us that isn't true or real for us, and we might need to work on releasing our attachment to other people's opinion and perception of us. Releasing our attachment to them approving of us or liking us, releasing the attachment to this relationship being intact if it is relevant to another person. But these are just some examples for you. Sometimes it's owning your own projections, So have I placed meaning onto the situation that really isn't there? Have I made this bigger than it really is? Have I taken something that could be a molehill and turned it into a mountain? So it's really looking at things cleanly and clearly to come about into a conclusion that's actually relevant, something you can actually work with, Is this a problem that just needs to be solved and it really doesn't need to be made a bigger deal than it really is? Or this is a situation for self-growth and self-evolution where you really are releasing attachment to what other people think about you, or to their approval or not of you, or to this relationship if it stays or goes. And for the other person, is this even meaningful or relevant for you? Have they placed their projection onto you? So it's really looking at things cleanly, but that's difficult to do when you are in your head about it and ruminating over it and just kind of thinking about it a lot and not allowing yourself to feel the feels. Because once you feel the pain underneath all of the thoughts and coping and defense mechanisms and all that stuff, and that kind of clears away, you're able to see the situation for what it is, that's uncolored by your particular lens or filter based on your past experiences and what you expect the world to do or how you expect it to treat you. It's going to be difficult to navigate this situation from that place. And so instead of that, finding that power in that weakness. The power is discovered in being able to see clearly, being able to see cleanly, being able to operate from a centered place with a much larger, grander perspective. So at the root of vulnerability, after you've cleared out all that stuff that's in the way, the coping mechanisms of the self-medicating, that we do when we're dealing with a problem, we just need to self-soothe. Clearing that out you know, clearing out the defense mechanisms of putting up our walls and just saying F this person or F that, or, you know, whatever that is, your version of that. And then just getting into that deep turmoil and letting yourself feel it. Then what happens? You know, what is delivered to you? What kind of clarity, information, what is it that's gleaned there at the root of the vulnerability? Once we've cleared all that stuff and recognized what's in the way of seeing cleanly and clearly, and then you might also find a lesson or wisdom or a gem for you, right? So you might find that, oh, you know, my inner child just needs to be nurtured and held and reminded that it's loved and that everything's going to be okay. Whatever it is for you, you might find something there in terms of how you can support yourself or integrate a part of yourself, or take notice and become aware of a part of yourself that you might not have before. There's an opportunity for growth and learning here that you might not have leaned into completely yet because you're still looking through an old filter. Okay, so again, yeah. So getting into the place of responding, not reacting. So let's see what this card says. I actually like these cards, and so, meaning I like sharing them and I like sharing what they say. Did I even show the first one here? I like sharing these cards because they do have a little caption. The only control we have is in how we respond to the hand we are dealt. So it's reminding you that you know, don't focus on all the things that you can't control. Only focus on you and what you can control. So whatever's happening in this situation, stop worrying about or ruminating over or considering an analysis, paralysing yourself. That's not a word, but the paralysing, you know, I just made that up. About the thing, because that's not going to do anything. And usually we're doing that when we're thinking about things we can't control. So like a bill came in that we didn't expect, or someone said something that wasn't true, or someone challenged something, whatever, something we cannot control. And we give all this attention to that. All we can control is ourselves. So how are we going to work with ourselves? How are we going to process through this ourselves? How are we going to nurture ourselves through this? What are we going to take from this? What's our opportunity here for growth and healing? What needs to be integrated? What wants to be looked at? And this doesn't have to take a long time or include all of these things. It can be as simple as really recognizing the part of yourself that's upset, the part that feels victimized, which is usually an inner child, our inner child or wounded child, recognizing what it needs or wants from us ultimately, what it would like the other person or the thing to do, or what it would like to happen, how it could feel safe. Then we offer that to ourselves or to that inner child, and then we're able to integrate and sort of soothe, nurture that part of us, and then we move on with our lives from a place of wholeness, being able to respond from that, being centered and anchored and grounded, as opposed to that emotional reactivity, which tends to happen when we're trying to push pain away and safeguard ourselves from pain and blame someone else. If we can clear that out, let ourselves cry, let ourselves grieve it, feel the pain of it, and then find ourselves in that place of a clean slate where there's not a whole lot coloring our perception, so that what wants to come through can. So yeah, trusting that what comes up for you is relevant for you and meaningful and can be supportive to your growth, but there's also something here in letting things go that aren't that big or that big of a deal or that don't need to be a trauma train, okay? So it's like we can make everything an opportunity for growth and shadow work and totally disappear into introspection and shadow work into total stagnation and oblivion even, and that's not the point either. It's like being able to do the work and well enough and greasing that wheel well enough to where you do feel pretty well nurtured and soothed and supported, to where things are a non-issue when they come up. You know, you do this work well enough and well practiced enough to where you find yourself in a position to be able to accept most things that come your way, find a neutral place of being, and then most things are dirt off your shoulder, no big deal, right? They roll off your back. That's ultimately what the point of shadow work is. It's not to continue to find the meaning and do this and find that. It's like, after some time of getting well versed in that and you grease that wheel well enough, you become well practiced in honoring yourself and looking at the part and seeing what it needs and meeting that need. Like once you do that so many times, you know, it's like all parts of you are in alignment, all parts of you are trusting each other, all parts of you are being supported and honored, and all parts of you are allowed to have a voice. And so you get to this place where all that's not required as often or as much or as deeply anymore, and you're just able to, something is, you know, you encounter something, you see it for what it is, it's a non-issue, and you move on. You know, you're able to find that space of neutrality in yourself. So that's the point here too. Long term, that's where you want to get to, where everything isn't this big drama-rama fest, and that you are able to find that place of centeredness and responding, and then it really can be as simple as that. So let's see here. Clarity begins in the eye of the storm. So yes, we already talked about this. So once you clear all that stuff out, what's here at the root, what's here at the center, what's left after you've allowed yourself to feel all the pain, feel all the anger, feel all the rage, feel all the grief, what's left? Because that's actually that centered place, the little voice that's going to be able to come through for you to guide you in the appropriate direction, okay? Everything else, anything else that comes up is resistance. Anything else that comes up that's not this, the turmoil, the torrential storm, all the defense mechanisms and the blaming and the projecting, all that stuff, again, that's focusing on things you can't control. Letting all that go, but feeling it, right? And then what you find at the core at the end of that is what's true and real, right? So this is about shadow work. We're getting a lot of shadow work here, cards for you in card pile 1. So you are going through some kind of deep healing or transformation, or you are in some kind of adversity, struggle, or hardship that you're moving through. And so it's, you know, asking you to do that shadow work, seeing what is that gem, right? Diving for light. What is the point of this? What revelation or insight or breakthrough wants to come through? And ultimately you find that breakthrough. So forgiveness, hurt blocks our light. So yes, once you're able to move through all of that pain and the projections and all of that, once you kind of move through that, right, then you feel, so you move through all the projections and the mental stories and all the meaning you've placed on it, right, the drama, Rama fest, you clear that out of the way, but give yourself some time with that if you feel like you need to. But you go to the next layer. That's feeling the pain, feeling the grief, the agony, the despair, the pain of rejection, abandonment, betrayal. Feel it. Deep dive into that. Okay, and then let it all out. You feel clean and clear, like you've had a really good cry, right? The wailing cry. It's done, it's over with, it's clear. Then you find that light in the center. Then that's where you can make a choice that's actually in greater alignment. That's when you can find, through your creativity, you need to solve a problem. So it's like, even if it's an unexpected bill, as an example, that's not going to be the case for many of you. This is an example for maybe a small minority of you, but really it's just an example to give you an idea of how you might do this work, which is you get an unexpected bill, right? Most people are going to be staying in the mental realm, problem solving, you know, what do I need to do? Who do I need to call? What do I need to gather? How do I need to work? All that stuff. Okay, so it's saying recognize that for what it is. You might even be projecting, oh, this company this, or this company that. Okay, that still isn't helpful because it's not focusing on what you can control. So you're going to clear all that out, you're going to take your power back, and you're going to say, okay, what is this really? For you, it's pain, it's fear of a lack of stability or a lack of safety. So you're like, okay, wow, I don't feel safe. I feel like I'm not safe. And so what does that tell you? There's a need there within you. You can call it your inner child, you can call it your inner victim, a part of you that just wants to feel safe. So how can I meet that need? How can I make myself feel safe? It might be to call a friend. It might be to make an appointment with your therapist. It might be just to nurture yourself and remind yourself, oh my God, that's all it was. I just felt unsafe. And usually when we come to that realization and we just allow ourselves to feel that, wow, the pain of just not feeling safe, like how sweet, what an innocent need to just feel safe. Okay, I get that. All right. So I just feel unsafe. Okay. And then let yourself feel the pain of that, the grief of that, whatever is there, clear all that. And then you're going to find yourself in that gem spot, right? You go dig through all of this to find the gem of I'm clean, I'm clear, I'm whole, I'm centered. You know, all the emotional reactivity has cleared, all the projections have cleared, the mental kind of busyness that kind of gets in the way and makes it about a lot of other things and connects dots it doesn't need to. It just makes a bigger problem. All that has cleared, and now you're like, oh, that's all it is. And so then you can make a more intelligent, emotionally integrated choice. So you've brought about the information that wanted to be offered by your emotions, by your reactivity, by your upset, by your inner child. You've brought that into the whole, and now you're making a choice from the wholeness that is you, that has strong and resilient parts, that has parts that knows it can create safety for itself, that knows what to do or reach out or who to reach out to. Okay? So that's what you're here to do, pile 1. That's the message from your higher self. That's how it wants you to deal with this situation or the ongoing series of situations you've been in. That's your message. If you liked this reading, I encourage you to like, subscribe. You can share your story in the comments. I, of course, offer personal readings as well as coaching programs to support you in your life, in your work, and your spiritual path. And I also wanted to share, I have an amazing program out right now. It's a year-long coaching community to nurture your true nature and your highest potential. And you can check that out at erritygreen.com/spiritwoman. So thank you, card pile 1. All right, card pile 2, messages from your higher self. Okay. Card pile 2, the message from your higher self is about really taking control of your life and what you want. So you have a big vision, a bigger calling. There's something that you want, something that's very kind of at the surface for you and just very much in the front burner, and something that you want or you're working on creating or giving some focus to. And perhaps you just haven't given it full focus. You haven't implemented it yet. You haven't taken the necessary action steps for it yet, but it's very present and forward for you, or like, you know, it's right here at the surface. And this is about sort of coming into that personal power and author of your life, like that authorship, the creative ability to really take the reins of your life and do this. So there's a message from your higher self to Step into your personal power, step into your own creative ability and capability, and start taking action, if not taking consistent action, toward what it is that you want to bring forward, because you're being affirmed that this can be for you. This is very much waiting for you if you decide to claim it, but it is going to require you to take the first steps and to initiate this journey, to initiate the building or the bringing about of this vision. It's going to require you ultimately to bring this to fruition. You're being asked to step into your power. You're being asked to decide what it is that you want, set that intention that this is what you're doing, and if it requires you to create a plan and objectives and goals and begin walking toward and implementing those things in order to bring this about, it's asking you to do so. If it requires you to acquire resources or to do something beforehand, those are prerequisites of some kind. If it requires you to bring in some support or hire someone for support to help you to bring this about, it's asking you to do that. It's saying, you want this, put your money where your mouth is and do it. Okay, so that's your message from your higher self. You're perfectly capable of this. It's saying, perfectly capable. This very much can be for you, and it's going to require you to decide it's for you and begin to build it. It's going to help you. You're being guided at all times, supported at all times. You can ask for help at any time. The opportunity, the right people, the right time, the right resources will come about for you as you continue to take action. If you find there's a time that things are very quiet, very stagnant, and things just aren't moving or happening, start moving things on your own. Start taking action. Start moving energy. Clear some emotions that you're sitting with. Go for a run. Just find ways to move energy so that you can get the energy flowing and moving again. So if you're finding stagnation, you haven't seen results in a while, things haven't been happening, things haven't been moving, maybe you're looking for clarity. Maybe you're seeking energy or motivation to move towards something. Maybe you've been working for a time at something and you're just not seeing any results. Keep moving. Maybe there's something else. And that doesn't mean you just start taking any old action like, I'm just going to go on until forever, being all up in my masculine energy and no time for self or well-being or self-care. No, it's saying like move the energy that you feel is most relevant for you or what you're being guided to. Because sometimes it's moving some energy in your body and clearing out an emotion. Sometimes it's decluttering your house or cleaning out your car. Sometimes it's going for a run and bringing out physical movement in your body. But getting energy moving is going to help you clear any blocks or stagnation that are in the way of creating real physical, tangible results. So, eternal gatekeeper. Acknowledge, assert, and protect what is right for you. Yeah. So you're being asked to pretty much do the damn thing, to ensure that it happens, that you're the decider as to whether this happens for you. Like, it's ultimately your decision, your choice, and is going to require your step taking. No one else is going to be able to come in and do it for you. It's going to be you. So whatever inspirations that you have, there is this message here of the harvest and the bounty will come. This is an inspiration card, but this is also my harvest and bounty card. It means like whatever you desire, whatever it is you deserve, whatever it is that you seek, it's all going to come to you, but essentially you're going to have to be the one to decide that and to begin taking the necessary action to bring it, right? Build it and it will come, essentially, but you got to build it. You got to build it, then it will come. And then I hear you guys saying or arguing, well, I do build it, or I do the thing, or I have done the thing. Okay, well, then there's something else in your life that's a glaring obstacle or glaring at you in the face and saying, do this. It's like a neon light that's saying right here, and you're saying, oh, I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, but I'm not at all looking at this neon sign that's saying, that could be inner child healing, that could be heart healing, that could be health and wellness and taking care of your physical body, but there's something that you might be resisting. For some of you, not all of you, but you're saying like, some of you are like, well, I have been doing the thing, and I'm not seeing anything, so Errity, you don't know what you're talking about, right? And so if that's the case for you, Spirit is saying, no, there is something that you have been overlooking or blatantly avoiding and trying not to look at, and that's the thing. Bingo. So that's your thing. And, this harvest, the abundance does come for you, and you're going to be the one who has to claim it. And it's going to require you to do the darn thing, to show up, and to do what is required to bring about. Now, this outcome. Now, it is saying that we don't get full control or complete control as to the results that we experience. So that's important. Like, Spirit wants to acknowledge that, because that might be a worry or concern of yours, or just something you've thought of. Well, we don't really always get guaranteed an outcome. That's true. What it's saying though is, and this is what I know, and so I'm bringing it forward because it's like a nudge for me to share with you something that I already say and I use in my work and I share with my clients and myself. We don't create results. practices create results. So we initiate the practices that initiate the results. So all we can do is invest ourselves in the practices that we believe will bring these results to fruition. And as we go through that process or those practices, the results will come in some form, maybe not always the form that we're expecting. We can always ask for more help. We can always ask for more opportunities. Things will continue to come our way. We can say yes or no to them, yes or no, right? We're going to build the architecture of our life by saying yes or no to what comes up. Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes to that, not to that. Yes. So getting clear on our yeses and nos, getting clear on what's in alignment with our vision, getting clear on what it is that we want. And then as we're doing so, those things are going to come in terms of the results or outcomes that we want. And if they don't, we're going to be able to sort of course correct or pivot, as they say. So it's like, yeah, you're right. Sometimes the practices don't bring something to fruition. And that just means that we start a new practice or tweak something or revise something. And if you feel like you don't know, again, or you need that support, reach out to the people that can help you. So whether that's spirit or your own intuition, using cards like I am here, going on to a reading or reaching out to a mentor or a teacher, someone can help guide you to clarity. You can do that too. You can get the help when you need it. So taking the action and moving forward, that's what you're being asked to do. Move toward the sun. You're being asked to move forward, to advance, to progress, and to follow what's in true alignment for you. Remember we were talking about saying yes or no, saying yes and affirming something, or saying no and declining it. When something comes your way, an opportunity, or you're deciding on an action step, it's like, of course, aligned action is the most ideal action, right? An inspiration, an insight, a nudge. But now, for some of you, though, you've been in stagnation for a time, or you aren't always clear, and you feel like you don't have the clarity, and it's why you haven't moved forward all the time or consistently. So if that's the case for you, then it's recognizing when an opportunity comes up, or an idea comes up that comes into your head, or someone says something and inspires you. When you have an opportunity to respond, what you're going to do is ask, is this in alignment with my vision? Is this in alignment with what I ultimately want and value? If the answer is yes, you can say yes to it. If the answer is no, you say no to it. So if what your value is nourishing, something that's soul nourishing and spiritually nourishing, and something you encounter, an opportunity or whatever you feel like is going to be draining and exhausting but might bring some money, that's still not going to be your answer. That's not the thing that's in alignment, right? So whatever it is that you're responding to, you're being given the opportunity to respond and act on or initiate. Check in, is it in alignment with my vision or is it not? That's going to give you that clear path to where it is you want to go. Yeah, so a lot of you had some disappointments in the past, some losses, some failures, like you've done the thing and maybe that's what led you to that stagnation, that period of stagnation. May not be the case for everyone, but for some of you, you have a series of, or at least experienced at least one kind of failure, loss, disappointment. And you took that hard and you took it on and you identified with it. Like, oh, that was my upset, my mistake, like, or even I did all the work and I wasn't given to, like, it was a big lie, it's all false, you've lost your faith, your trust, your hope. And so that's part of the issue here. Reclaiming your hope, faith, and trust is what's going to be key from here forward for bringing about your vision. If you're still living in this energy of defeat, of purposelessness, of meaninglessness, of hopelessness, of a lack of control, a lack of trust, faith, hope, optimism, so on and so forth, it's going to be difficult to create what you want. So you're being asked to release your ties to that. You're being asked to release, you've tethered yourself to those disappointments and failures, kind of assumed that that's going to be this cloud that kind of looms over, like Eeyore, if you know Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. You've kind of brought that with you and carried it with you, like, oh, this is how it's going to be. So no matter what I do, it's probably going to lead to the outcome, so F it. So starting to recognize that might be the voice that's in the back of your head or what's happening underneath the layers of your subconscious, that in fact you're kind of feeling defeated before you've even started, or just saying F it before you've even begun. That might be the energy for a lot of you. You're assuming failure long before you would ever know if it's going to fail or not. And you really have to let go of this past, and the past, whatever that was, clean the slate clearly and untether yourself to those lies and falsehoods and illusions that are from the past that actually supported you in some way, you gained clarity in some way. It serves some other purposes in terms of your soul's purpose, your life path, the course of your life that maybe you don't understand now, but you will understand eventually or ultimately. And if not, your soul knows, so you can trust that these were some of the things that were in place for you in terms of like predetermination. Some of these things were put in place for a reason. Trusting that it was helping you clear out some of the old patterns and paradigms that were keeping you limited and keeping you small, and that really weren't in your highest alignment. They weren't for your highest benefit and good. There was more available to you, and that's why some of that stuff was cleared out. So trusting that, even not just trusting the good and saying excellent, Perfect. That's conditional trust. Unconditional trust is saying I even trust when things are cleared away and the slate is cleared in my life. That I'm trusting God to take the wheel and do the right things for me when they do happen. God, great spirit, cosmos, universe, however you identify it. So, you really want to clean the slate of that and step away from that energy. And part of the work of doing that is recognizing when it's plaguing. When is it present? When it's assuming failure before you've even begun. When it's already assuming that it's going to fail before you've taken your first step. And then you find yourself in a lack of motivation, a lack of passion, a lack of determination. It's because probably that voice that's speaking at a very low volume that you might not be noticing, but it's under the radar and it's there. And you want to acknowledge that so that you can decide that it's not going to take over. Like, you get a choice as to whether this dictates your life or reality or your choices. You get a choice as to whether this determines or dictates your feeling state. You get to decide from here forward if that's going to dictate your future, even though it happened in your past. So again, taking back the reins, becoming the captain of your ship, and moving forward and making progress despite some of the difficulties that have come for you, and continuing to make choices in alignment with what it is that you want based on when you have those opportunities respond, you're saying yes or you're saying no. That's going to bring about the changes that you so desire. So that's your reading, card pile 2. I thank you for watching. If you like this reading, I encourage you to subscribe, to share your comments or feedback below. Of course, I want to let you know that I do offer personal readings as well as coaching programs to support you in your life, in your work, and on your spiritual path. I do have a program that's enrolling now, and this is a timeless reading, so you might find this later when it's not enrolling, but that's okay. It's a year-long coaching community to nurture your true nature and your highest potential. You can find those details out at erritygreen.com/spiritwoman. All right, so let's move on to card pile 3. This is a message from your higher self. Okay, so you're going through a time of, it feels like, so there's a couple different options here, and I know they're very kind of dichotomous or contrasting energies, but I feel like some of you might be going through a time of turmoil or upset or disappointment. Maybe you're going through a period of adversity and just struggling with how you're feeling with it. But some of you, I feel like on the flip side, the other side of the coin, are experiencing a lot of passion and drive and creative expression and creative ability and aliveness and sensuality, and that's what you're moving through. I do want to pull a clarifier card though, because it's not immediately clear as to where this wants to take us, and that's okay. So let's see. Can I get a clarifier card for pile 3? Can I get a clarifier card for pile 3? You guys don't always see me shuffle, but sometimes I do. Okay. So we'll see here. Yeah. So I'm just changing position too, because I'm like, card reading 3. I started losing my comfort after a time. So yeah, some of you going through a shift, a change, and I think it could take one of those forms. Either you're in turmoil, in a difficult place, and you're being asked to sort of come alive and connect to your creative expression, at what wants to move through you, what wants to be created, how you can show up as your fullest and best self, your most creative expression. And then some of you are already there, like in your creative and most alive expression. And we'll see how that relates, because a message from your higher self wouldn't just say, yes, this is where you are, right? There might be some advice or some other textures to the layers of this reading. And we'll get there. So a part of you, you might be too making a decision as to how you want to move forward. I don't know. It's not perfectly clear as to what that decision is, but I feel like you guys are at a decision point as to how you move forward. It might even be this turning point or crossroads or choice point of, am I going to continue and feeling bad or feeling low or in this kind of feeling and being state that I really don't love, or am I going to move forward into what makes me feel alive or makes me come alive? Am I going to move forward into what nourishes me and nourishes my soul and makes me feel passionate and fulfilled and excited about life? So I feel like there's this choice point here to really step into your truest, highest, most authentic self, the most authentic path for yourself, or to not. There's like this choice point of, I can stay here where I am, where things don't feel alive and well and good. I don't feel like I'm thriving. Or I can continue to move forward or make a choice to move forward into what is actually meant for me. So there's a choice point here that I think your soul wants you to look at and recognize that you can make the choice for yourself that is most true for you, one that you do value, one that you do desire, something that is meaningful for you. So what's coming? A message from your higher self. Yeah, so you're wanting something new. You're wanting a change. You're wanting, so I think for the majority of you then, you're going to be on the flip side of that coin of, you're in the turmoil, or you're in a place where you're feeling a being state, don't exactly feel aligned with what you want. You're not living your most alive, authentic, best self, fully expressed path, and you want to move toward that because that's really the truth of you. That's the core truth of you. Anything else in the way of that is a lie, and it's to be cleared. It's an opportunity to release and surrender that shit because it's not you. The true you is this gal right here. Let me show you. Priestess. Now, if you're a man and you don't identify as a woman or as a priestess, that's fine. So who are you when you are in your fullest personal power, fullest expression, best self, most authentic path energy, right? So that's what you're going to be looking at. So ultimately you have a choice to make, because right now is a turning point or an opportunity to change, to course correct, to return to what makes you come alive, to what makes you feel joyful, to what makes you feel anchored in your purpose path, your life's work, your expression, your core expression, how your essence wants to express itself in this world. You have an opportunity to come alive, to be your best self, to live authentically, to have a livelihood that's authentic to you. Like, all of this is available to you, but it does require you to stop choosing the old way and to instead step into the new. Now, the requirement here and the message from your higher self is about recognizing that anything that's not this is not true for you. It's not your ultimate truth. So if there's a feeling state in the way, an emotional template, a history of feeling a certain way, all that stuff is all BS that's in the way of what is actually true for you, or what's at least possible and available for you. Now, it doesn't mean that these things didn't happen for a reason, right? You could be in a season of depression or dark night of the soul because a lot of healing is happening. You know, things are clearing out. You might be struggling to move forward into a new life identity era chapter, and you're holding on for dear life to old patterns and habits and relationships and things that are keeping you small and keeping you feeling bad. So that's a possibility. I'm not getting a clear example. So what I'm doing is taking the energy and offering examples that are pretty typical examples of a spiritual path as to what happens when we get stuck or stagnant. And so all that stuff, the stuckness, the stagnancy, that stuff can be released. That stuff can be surrendered. Make that choice to clear that. Part of the work, though, is recognizing the work to do that, becoming aware that it's even there, recognizing that it's not ultimately true, recognizing that you can clear that and make the choice to let it go, and then doing whatever it is that comes up that might support you to clear that energy. Is it a ritual? Is it energy work? Is it shadow work? Is it integration? Is it inner child work? Is it heart healing? It takes a lot of forms. And I talk a lot about the different processes and tools we can use in my readings. And I'm not feeling the call to go there today because I feel like you're already aware, or you know how to get the help, or you can go to other videos on this channel to find out. But it is saying there's an opportunity here to become aware of that kind of attire that you're wearing. You know, if you attire, not attire, but like the costume or the clothing that you're wearing, it's just like that. If it's not true for you, you can take it off and then own your true self, your core self underneath. So you're just being asked to take off that layer of clothing that's really not honoring your highest potential. It's not honoring your highest potential for joy or your best life, your greatest self-expression. You're just not honoring yourself through continuing to choose this kind of emotional blueprint, this emotional template, this emotional habit of kind of holding on to grudges or bitterness or resentment or sadness or self-pity. And so over time, what happens when we hold on to those energies, it kind of takes up a residence within us, you know, and we start to own it and embody it as our identity. So it's like once it was a mood, and then it becomes sort of our identity or our personality over time. And so it's going to take some work to loosen that, to soften that. It can help to allow yourself to feel how you feel when you feel it, number one, but also not identifying with it. It doesn't get to take over your life. It doesn't get to dictate your choices and actions. And every single day and every single moment, you're making a choice to come alive, to choose differently, to walk the path of your best self, to take responsibility for how you feel and decide, I'm not going to sit in self-pity and wallowing anymore. I'm going to get moving. You know, what movement is being asked of me right now? What action is being asked of me right now? Take that action. You know, it might be to get up and shower, to get up and go for a walk. It might be to get some running in. You know, whatever it is, there's going to be something that's unique to you that's going to serve and support you to clear that out of the way so that you can continue to identify with the different, the true you, the greater potential. That's what's on the way. The experience that you want for yourself is on its way. These lighter energies, light of spirit, integrating your true spiritual nature into your body vessel, into your tangible physical life. That's what is around the corner. That's what wants to happen. But these darker, denser energies need to be cleared in order for that to truly anchor and ground into your life. So whatever it is that you're being asked to do, so some of you it's health related, clearing out the body vessel, having a healthier diet, letting the body clear older, denser energies. It can do that and present itself through sickness sometimes or chronic health issues. More often than not, it's actually emotional clearing or cleansing that's happening. And if we give our bodies or create a conducive environment for our bodies to do the work of clearing and detoxing, it will. So we have to be the ones to create that healthy environment so that it can detox all on its own. It's not something you have to force or will through, or force through really intense detox and cleansing. Create the right environment. Your body will do what it needs to do. Okay, so you are meant to experience more. So you've wondered, am I meant to experience more? Is there more for me in this life? Is this all it is? There is more. Your life wants you to experience more. It wants you to come alive. It wants you to feel nourished and supported and loved and alive and well and express and creative and sensual and sexual and, embodying your fullest expression, your whole self. It wants that for you. Through the clearing out and through the process that we're talking about, it's going to bring you into that creative power. I do feel a sensual / even sexual awakening that could be on the horizon for you, if not already happening now and is underway. So some of you, though, I feel like have suppressed desires. So maybe you've suppressed those urges or impulses, suppressed those creative impulses and desires. Something there could be suppression that's happening, which is also bringing about some of that stagnant energy or some of that feeling state that you don't really love and doesn't make you feel alive. So seeing how can I use the stagnant energy and use that toward whatever it is I want to create or do, or how can I move this energy? Is it self-pleasure? Whatever, it's going to be unique to you, but it's like if you're feeling that energy, you can transmute it through pleasure. It's even saying you can transmute it through pleasure practices, self-pleasure practices, transmute it through physical movement. You can use it toward your creative endeavors. How do you want to use the energy that's sitting there that might be even suppressed or whatever? How can you use that, alchemize that, and ultimately clear that from your vessel so you can own more of your true self, more of your true creative potential, all that you are, all that you want to be and experience. So yeah, you're being asked to come alive. We already know that. Paint yourself red. You're being asked to color your life, to color your experience, to even allow yourself to see the vibrance, the color, everything that's already here. You have such a rich life that's already available to you, and you're not seeing it because of this feeling of feeling kind of dead, low, numb, empty. And it's like the more you can start shifting that perception and seeing that as an old story and allowing yourself to feel what's there, but then deciding that it doesn't get to take the reins and be the captain of the ship, you're going to decide to use a pattern interrupt activity to move that energy, to change how you feel, decide how you feel, and take action that's relevant to your fullest expression. The more you do that, the more you're going to find that you come alive, and that the old stories, the depressed stories, the numb, empty stories aren't real or true. Now, what does the final card say? It says presence of absence. Hold what is absent in the presence of your love. So a lot of you have felt, maybe even judged yourself for feeling bad, and that's the first thing that's coming up. And so there's an opportunity here to hold that in love, to love yourself anyway, to accept those feelings as they are, to love them up, snuggle them up, as opposed to sort of resisting them, judging them, and being like, you go away, I don't like you, I don't like how you make me feel. How can you love that, make space for that, let it be there? How can you honor it? What does it want to say? What does it have to share with you? Again, how does it want to move? How does it want to move you? What is it inspiring you toward? What can it energize you toward? Oftentimes those energies aren't saying sit, stagnate, numb yourself, and self-medicate, self-soothe like that. They're saying get up and move, go out for a run, move me, move this energy. It wants to be moved. It doesn't want to be suppressed with self-medication and numbing and coping skills that are expired, stale, and not working for you, baby. That's keeping you where you are in the depressed, numb, stalemate era, and it wants you to come alive. It wants you to feel alive and vibrant. All of that, those riches are here and available to you now. Instead of identifying with old self, old energy, the more you shift your perception, you're going to see all the beauty that's already here. A lot of you are already living, not all of you, but many of you are living, all of you are living a blessed life. But I do want to give credence and value to, and validation to, experiences that are traumatic and difficult, and that life isn't always rainbows and roses, and that's okay too. So I want to make sure that's clear. But all of us usually can find some moments or person or things to be grateful for in our lives. Don't deny the beauty that is there, because then you're going to continue to deny that beauty. You're not going to, again, avail yourself to the riches that want to come to you. So also, looking at how what is missing for you right now, that is your arrow to what you value and what you want. Don't let it be something that's like, oh, woe is me, I don't have that, it's not going to come to me, it's not for me, just forget it, why even bother, all that stuff. Not Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Instead, let this be the arrow that bleeds. I even mentioned this exact quote and line in my book. What is my book? We don't even know. It's what is my book? It's my second book. It's on my website. It's not Your Soul Figure Year, but it's about worth and wealth and something. It's like, can you believe this? I wrote this book last year and I can't even think of the name. Whatever. Gosh, I cracked myself up. It's like I can do this, but I can't tell you what my book is. But it is on my website, and I do mention, look at your pain. That is the bleeding arrow pointing to exactly what you want. So if you're feeling like something is missing, or something is making you sad, or something is bringing you down about your life because you don't have it or you haven't experienced it, all that's informing you is what you do want, what you do value. So if you're feeling like a relationship that is healthy and loving and soul fulfilling isn't there, then that's telling you that's what you want, and to get your life in alignment with that, to move toward that. Okay? If it's that you want a purpose path or a career or something like that, or a livelihood that really lights you up and inspires you, something that you're passionate about, something that is truly of service, and that brings about more wealth and abundance into your life, okay, then if that's missing and you typically kind of, hem and haw about it, now, okay, well, that's pointing to that's what you want. So start align your life with it. Take the relevant action to align your life with that. So see, look at the pain, because it's pointing you to what you want and what you ultimately love. And it's somewhere, somehow, you might even be denying yourself of that, which is maybe one of the reasons why you're feeling the way you feel, right? We talked about desire suppression. So some of you have just sort of given up on it or resigned and said, it's not going to happen for me. And that's part of your depression. It's like your soul's crying, your wonder child is crying and saying, no, but I wanted that. I really wanted that. I wanted that fame, or I really, really wanted that job, or I really, really wanted that partner. But then there was a party that's like, just forget it. It's not going to work out for us. And so then it's like, oh. And so it kind of goes dead inside and just the lights go out. But it's saying, no, that those things are for you. Now go and align your life with it. Work toward it. Take action toward it. Make the choices. Embody it, right? Make the choices that are in alignment with that bring that about. Okay? So if you want a soulmate relationship, if you're always isolated in your home and never doing anything and not availing yourself to those opportunities, that's not aligning your life with a soulmate relationship. Now, I do believe that God, Spirit, Universe trumps all. So even if we think our life is in alignment with it, oftentimes it'll show up at our doorstep. So that's true too. But it's saying doing your part, what you can control to bring about the changes that bring about these ultimate outcomes that you're saying that you want. You get to fulfill these wishes. You have to be the one to initiate, to ask, to take the step, to take the leap, to do the thing, to put your money where your mouth is so your life can deliver. You have to set the stage for your life to deliver. It wants to deliver to you, so make your moves, baby. That's your reading card pile 3. Thank you for watching. If you like this reading, I encourage you to like, to subscribe, to share your story in the feedback in the comments. And I do want to let you know, of course, I offer personal readings as well as coaching programs to support you in your life and you're working on your spiritual path. I also have a program right now that's enrolling. It's a year-long coaching community to nurture your true nature and your highest potential. You can find those details out at erritygreen.com/spiritwoman. Thank you. Until next time, card pile 3.